Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another election prediction. This time I'm covering the 2024 Senate map for the month of September 2023. So let's get right into this. So obviously, we'll start with California because that's the most interesting one. It's a three-way race for which Democrat is going to be the senator right now. Currently, I think the top two candidates, let's just take a look. Top two candidates are Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and Barbara Lee's in third place. So far, it really looks like Katie Porter in a two-way race, so she would likely beat Adam Schiff. So as of right now, I think Katie Porter has it because I think she just has way more name recognition than Adam Schiff. She's been more vocal in Congress, honestly, and she's probably out fundraising him. I think, even though she's doing a very bad job at getting endorsements. Adam Schiff is out endorsing her by a lot with the California House reps. But as of right now, I think Katie Porter is going to be the senator from California. The Republicans have no chance. They might even not even get into a top two scenario, which honestly I think is probably going to happen. Washington's obviously going to be safe. Same with Hawaii. Let me just fill in the rest of these states. There's going to be some retiring senators. I think Sanders probably runs again. So for now, he's caucusing with the Democrats. I mean, he's basically agrees with them on every issue. He's more left wing than them. That's basically the only difference. In Maine, Angus King is a very strong senator, and Republicans have nobody to run here. Like, the bench is empty in Maine. So let's get into the next few states. So the safe Republican states, like the obviously safe ones we're going to do, not like the ones that are over 10%. These are ones that are like super safe that are not going to be competitive at all. Okay, now let's get into the next few races. So New York, it's not going to be a competitive race. I just forgot to rank it safe in the first place, but it's for sure safe blue. Okay, let's start off with the next races. So New Mexico. I'm just going to illustrate why New Mexico is safe Democratic really quickly. Let me just go back here. Okay. Here's why New Mexico is safe. They literally got, honestly, no candidates here that are good. There's no one that has really much experience here except for McDonald right here, but I really just kind of doubt it. And he just has a lot of money on his hand. He's probably going to outperform Joe Biden in this New Mexico Senate race. He'll probably easily win by safe margin, and I currently think Biden's probably going to win by safe margin in New Mexico. So in Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, she frequently overperforms. She wins by landslides every time. It's no doubt in my mind that she's probably going to win here. In the state of Virginia. Now, again, do the Republican candidates have anybody running? They actually have quite a few people running. Hun Cao. But again, he might not win the primary. He doesn't really have much endorsements considering they're getting behind Scott Parkinson here. He has a whole list here. So again, it's like a no-name candidate again. I really just, if the nominee is not Hung Cao, then it's probably going to be safe Democratic because he actually showed he could overperform. And so far, it really looks like he's not going to be the nominee. So safe Democratic as well. In the state of Pennsylvania, this is the state that's closest to being safe Democratic of the Senate races for the Dems. Bob Casey, he frequently overperforms in the polling. He's like leading by a lot, even against, let's just go to the candidates here. But even against McCormick, he's leading by a lot. And Mastriano, he would have made this race safety. Luckily for the Republicans, he's not running, but they're getting behind McCormick. And again, McCormick is not really that strong of a candidate. Bob Casey is already labeling McCormick as an out-of-stater. He's kind of from Connecticut, he's pretty much pointing out. But he does own a residence in Pennsylvania. But at the same time, Bob Casey's up 12 points on McCormick in a recent poll. It really looks pretty bad for Republicans. The only good thing is McCormick could kind of self-fund, but I just think that he keeps the race to a likely margin. So the state of West Virginia. I really doubt it that Manchin could really pull this off. Jim Justice is such a strong Republican candidate in West Virginia. He's a very popular governor, and Manchin's approval ratings are underwater right now. He's like minus 15 or minus 20. Right now, it's looking like a layup for Jim Justice to beat Manchin, but who knows? Manchin could pull a rabbit out of the hat. Maybe he swaps his party registration to independent or something like that, or announces he's leaving the Democratic Party. That would probably not even shift it down to a likely margin still. I think Jim Justice still beats him out by over 10, even in a case like that. So really, there really is no point in Manchin just doing that, because that might just piss off the remaining Democrats here in West Virginia that still like Manchin. But again, Democrats in West Virginia are actually quite conservative at the same time. So would it really affect him if he stabs the Democratic Party in the back and announces he's leaving it like Sinema did? Honestly, I don't know. West Virginia is a very unpredictable state, but I just kind of think it really wouldn't do anything. It really wouldn't save him switching to an independent. Maybe it saves him 2 or 3 points by announcing as an independent instead of staying as a Dem. That's what I would say. I think getting rid of the party label really does not do much to improve his chances here. It probably makes the Democrats, not even the ones in West Virginia, the ones that could donate to his campaign, not want to donate because he stabbed the party in the back. He could lose fundraising money because of that decision. So, again, safe Republican West Virginia. It's pretty much locked in. So, state of Florida, Rick Scott, he's lucky that the Republican nominee, whether it's Trump, DeSantis, Nikki Haley, or any of them on the stage, most likely nearly all the candidates, except for Vivek Ramaswamy, would probably win Florida by a likely Republican margin. It's just trending their way. Party registration numbers are going in their way. Really, everything is going bad for Democrats in the state of Florida. It's kind of a lost cause at this point. I really don't think it's winnable for them in a Senate race. Even with a good candidate, it's still likely Republican. In Michigan, with Alyssa Slotkin, she's a pretty strong Senate candidate. Again, she does have some opposition in the primary in Hill Harper, but I think she's probably going to win the primary anyway, just because of the name recognition, and most of the party cleared the field for her. But the thing is, again, the Republicans don't have that many great candidates to run here. John James isn't going to run. He's going to run for his House seat again, keep building up that career to eventually run for senator or governor. But GOP candidates don't really have anyone good to run against Alyssa Slotkin. Are they real? Like, we could show the candidates here. Some of these candidates, James Craig, he was disqualified for forging signatures in his governor run. He's the one that's probably going to be the nominee. But again, that's already kind of tainting his chances here just for falsifying their signatures. I just don't think he's a good candidate either. So for now, I'm putting Michigan as likely Democratic, and we're going to go to Wisconsin with Tammy Baldwin. Again, some people may point to her approval polls not being the best, but I'm just going to say that Republican candidates are actually scared of running against her. Mike Gallagher declined, Tom Tiffany declined, Scott Walker declined. There is internal polling on the Republican side that's probably showing that, yeah, Tammy Baldwin's probably going to win by a likely margin. It's really not even worth it to run against her. I think there's some polls that they're really not showing here. They probably had a bunch of internals done that shows them down. Because if it's this close, 47 to 46, Gallagher probably would have ran. There's internal polling telling him that it's not really showing a good picture of this poll right here. And of course, this pollster is typically not that strong anyway. They don't really get that many races right, so they're pretty inaccurate, honestly. So for now, let's go back to the Senate map here. Wisconsin's likely Democratic. A lot of the good GOP candidates have declined to run. They're running a no-name candidate against her. She's probably going to easily win by a likely margin. Okay, now we're into the most competitive states here. Every other state's been likely or safe, but these are the ones that are really going to determine Senate control in 2024. So we're going to start off with Nevada. Again, Nevada, even with everything going their way in 2022, Republicans still weren't able to unseat the incumbent Democratic senator. In an election year with much higher Democratic turnout, the Democrats have a very good shot at winning in Nevada. Probably like very good favorites. They're probably going to win the Senate race here by 3 or 4 points or so against the Republican nominee. And I say that because 2022, Republicans outvoted Democrats by 10% and still lost here because of independents. Independents are still going to stick with Democrats in 2024 in Nevada. I really don't see the Republicans winning here, especially with Laxalt, who was one of their better candidates. He's still lost. He's not running again. They're running someone else entirely different. I just don't see him winning here. Okay. In Texas, with Ted Cruz versus Colin Allred. Colin Allred will be a very good candidate for black turnout and Latino turnout. He would probably boost up turnout in the urban areas in Texas. But again, Ted Cruz would probably still win here by a lean Republican margin. It would be a bit close. Cruz would probably win by about 3% or so, or maybe even 2%. But I'll put it at 2.5. He'll win by that margin. But again, the trends here for the Democrats are very good for them. They're getting a lot of urban growth in Texas, which is what they need to rely on to win the state in the future. But it's not yet time for Texas to turn blue. That's like going to happen in 2032 or 2028. Probably 2032, honestly. It'll probably shift blue. But for now, Texas is not ready to turn blue, but it'll certainly be a competitive Senate race, and one in which Democrats, if they want to get 51 Senate seats, this is the 51st Senate seat they need to win. Okay. In Arizona, it's a very interesting case in Arizona because it might be a three-way race with Kyrsten Sinema running. Currently, I think it's more likely she doesn't run because, again, she's more likely to get third or just lose to Ruben Gallego anyway. But the polling pretty much is showing a clear picture here. Sinema, believe it or not, is actually pulling more support away from the Republicans than the Democrats in some polls. Like, a majority of them, it's showing that, or it's showing its 50-50 poll here because of Sinema in Congress has really distanced herself from Democrats, and her approval rating with Democrats is worse than it is among Republicans. So that kind of explains that phenomenon. But the most recent poll actually shows Sinema in second, Kari Lake in third. Yeah, you heard me right. The Republicans in third place. We could see a scenario where Republicans might actually just vote for Sinema instead. But again, it's Kari Lake. I think those Republicans would be pretty much fully united behind her. We won't see a instance of that Connecticut Senate race where Joe Lieberman ran as third party when he lost the primary, and all the Republicans pretty much voted for him. Even though they had a Republican on the ballot, they voted for Lieberman, and Lieberman beat the Democrat. That scenario could happen with Sinema, believe it or not. But again, I just think that a lot of Republicans quite like Kari Lake, especially the more right-wing ones, not the centrist ones. Centrist Republicans are going to Sinema, as we see here. But the more right-wing Republicans, they're probably going to stick with Kari Lake. I think they definitely see her close loss in the governorship. They definitely want to give her another shot for Senate. But as of right now, Ruben Gallego, even in a three-way race, he's beating both these candidates here. So, again, it's probably lean Democratic, even in a three-way race. And if it's just a two-way race between him and Lake, it's probably still just lean Democratic. Again, we're down to the most competitive Senate races in 2024. Montana and Ohio. We'll start off with Montana. Jon Tester has a very solid approval rating. Some polls show it in the high 50s. I think that's pretty much the average where it's at right now. But as of right now, it looks like the candidates for the Republicans it's going to be between Tim Sheehy and Matt Rosendale. If it's Rosendale, the Republicans are probably going to lose. But if it's Sheehy, they have a probably better chance because, again, Rosendale lost to Jon Tester. And most of the times in Senate races, when you run someone who lost 6 years ago, they lose again. We saw that with Russ Feingold in Wisconsin. Usually voters don't want to vote for someone who lost before, especially 6 years in the future. They'll be like, I already voted down this candidate. Why would I vote for them again? And considering that Tester actually has a very solid approval rating, he'll probably outrun Biden considerably. And another thing that's good for him is, we can take a look at the 2018 Senate race. The number of raw votes that he has to flip is not that much. He only has to get like 50K or so, or 100K, or no, it's probably more like 50,000 swing voters, people who are voting for Trump to vote for him. And again, Montana is the ticket splitter state. That's one state that's extremely bipartisan in electing senators from the opposite party and even governors. So, again, there's a lot going good for Jon Tester here. It'll probably be one of the more competitive races, which is why I'm putting it as tilt Democratic for now, not lean D. But for now, it looks like Tim Sheehy, I think he could edge out Rosendale. I think it'll be like 50-50 between them. But either way, I'm putting this as tilt Democratic. I still think it's still a very Republican state. It's like R plus 15 or something. So, again, Jon Tester has a very good approval rating, but he needs to really get those ticket splitters to vote for him, and I think he will for now. So, tilt Democratic. The state of Ohio. It really looks like Republicans are shooting themselves in the foot again. Want to know why? Because a lot of Republicans are endorsing Bernie Moreno, who would be definitely the worst candidate out of the three they could pick. They should pick Frank LaRose. He's actually won office in Ohio. He's Ohio's Secretary of State. You'd probably make this race tilt Republican or just especially competitive. But we could look at the polls. Frank LaRose by far is the strongest candidate here. One poll has 45-45. He's always outperformed Moreno and Dolan. But in terms of the best candidates here, LaRose number 1, Dolan number 2, Moreno number 3. In every poll, Moreno has underperformed both of these candidates. And if it looks like Trump might endorse Moreno just because of how J.D. Vance has endorsed him. So, and especially Rubio and other senators here. If they go behind Moreno, I really think they're going to botch the Senate race. I just don't think he's that good of a candidate, and just experience aside, he doesn't really have the credentials here to win the Senate race here. I don't really think he shows any electoral prowess like LaRose does, or even Matt Dolan, who at least served in government before. But LaRose should be the candidate for Republicans, but they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're probably going to pick Bernie Moreno, just judging by the early endorsements going a lot behind Moreno here. So for now, I'm going to put Ohio as tilt Democratic, and this will probably result in the Democrats retaining the Senate, because if they're winning the Senate, Biden's probably winning the Electoral College. So Democrats narrowly hold the Senate. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And let me know your feedback in the comments below. I'm very interested to hear what you think about this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.